Okay, and we are back after a brief hiatus. We have returned. Lulu and Pop back in the mix.
We're sitting on the opposite sides of the couch, though. I feel like you feel a little backwards right now.
Nope. I feel just fine. Thank you. I feel very much me right now. So this episode we're going to go a little media heavy. I feel like we have to make up for last week's.
Yeah.
We saw 2 movies last week. We saw 1 movie.
We saw 3.
We saw 2 movies. That was all in the same week, wasn't it? We saw Get Out.
That was Saturday, so that was technically the week before, right?
Yeah, we saw Get Out, Table 19, and
Logan.
And we'll discuss that today, as well as discuss an episode of Girls.
Yeah, which is just shocking, the fact that
I will say that I never thought in a million years that I would talk about Lena Dunham and her project Girls in a positive light.
True.
I don't even know if I want to say it's a positive light. It's definitely thought-provoking. It's definitely,
yes.
What is that called? Conversational?
Yeah.
Or a conversation piece?
Think piece.
I
Conversation piece.
always feel like think pieces are full of bullshit, though.
I guess the word think piece is kind of douchey.
Yeah, I feel like I associate think piece with fake news.
Oh, well.
Yeah. And I know that's not always the case, but that's just where my mind takes it. So, since we're going to just be diving heavy into everything that we've watched, let's talk about some things that we've eaten.
Okay.
Let's talk about some good grub. I've fallen in love with Indian cuisine.
Mm-hmm. Deeply.
Big fan. What is that place called down the street?
Laxmis?
Yep. Laxmis has fed me for the last 2 Sundays in a row.
And Mondays, because you get so much damn food.
Sunday, yeah, and into Monday. I've eaten 4 days of this food. I definitely feel like it's money well spent. It's vegan and, well, I would say more vegetarian. There's vegan options, but a lot of their dishes with the cheese is delicious. I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Mm-mm.
I just know the shit is popping.
Mm-hmm.
It is knocking.com.
Yeah.
It's going tofu ham sandwiches.
Yeah.
And I appreciate every moment of it. Every spoonful I shovel into my mouth. That big ass rice. What's that called? What's that rice called?
Jasmine rice?
Nah, I think jasmine rice is sticky.
Oh.
It's bigger. I think it begins with a B. Like
basami or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how to say
rice
that.
be long as fuck. It's long and thin.
Mm.
Big fan. So, if you're ever into Indian cuisine and you ever find yourself in the East Falls Proverbs of, would that be right? Proverbs or East Falls?
Yeah. There's also one in Manayunk on Main Street, too.
Okay. And if you ever find yourself in Main Street?
Yeah.
Where?
We've walked past it before, because I remember being like, how do they have 2 locations so close together?
That one in East Falls is always empty.
Yeah, I think they do numbers with delivery.
And it's cold.
It was real cold in there.
Yeah, that was good food. So yeah, that was delicious. For anyone trying to get up on it, I wasn't a big fan of Indian food, but I have found while pursuing the vegetarian lifestyle that those mofos know how to season.
Yo.
They
oh my god,
their spice game is on point.
Yeah, that chickpea dish, that's probably my favorite so far.
The first one you ordered?
Yeah,
that was popping. I think the first thing I ordered too with the potatoes and cauliflower was definitely on point.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny how much I did not like their food before I gave up meat, and I think because their dishes with meat just wasn't as delicious as I wanted them to be, or maybe because it wasn't as I guess because I just like junk. Like I just wanted like chicken nuggets and shit.
Mm.
Which after watching Super Size Me really fucked me up with the chicken nugget game.
Mm-hmm. We didn't even watch the special. Well, we can't watch the special feature, but we can on my DVD that I still own.
Lauren, no one's trying to watch your DVD.
I'm not the only one.
No one's trying to watch your DVD.
Anyway, there's a special feature on it that shows the part where they put the burger and fries. Did you ever see that one? They put the burger and fries in a case and watch it age, and then they take like a diner, like a real like burger and fry, and like they have them next to each other, and like the one from the diner ages and like it's moldy, as food should, but the McDonald's one didn't ever grow mold.
It's amazing. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I do believe I'm sick.
Battling.
It's this weather, man. This weather got weird.
Yeah, because it was like 70 and then it was like 30.
Yeah, but I didn't want to like put on my heavy jacket and then be sweating, but then it'd be cold. Like today's a prime example. This morning it was cold.
It was really cold. It was 25.
But then by this afternoon, I was outside with no jacket on. So I need some type of middle ground.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Shit is hard for me. Okay, so let's go from let's dive into American Bitch recap. Okay, so American Bitch is Lena Dunham's Girls episode. What episode is this?
It was last week's.
Right.
It's the third episode of Girls' final season.
Right. The third episode of Girls' yeah, I actually just read that same sentence just as you said it. So let's just start by saying the TV show Girls to me is one of those shows that I think I started watching during season 1, which was interesting, and season 2 wasn't bad. But then I started. Well, season 2 is when I kind of stopped liking it. But I think because it's a half an hour and it comes on in a time where I don't have a bunch of other shit to watch, I continually find myself just kind of watching it.
Yeah.
And it's almost something I watch just so I can bitch about it in a way.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
And the show itself isn't necessarily horrible. I want to say Lena Dunham on her own is...
says a lot of dumb shit.
She doesn't help herself, no.
She says a lot of dumb shit.
Doesn't help herself at all. However, I feel like this particular episode or this particular season has been pretty interesting with like the episode that we just watched was like pretty good. And this episode American Bitch, which came on last week, was very interesting. It was interesting enough that after the episode I went and Googled a bunch of shit.
Yeah, we had a conversation about it.
We did, and I feel like we don't have many conversations about TV shows afterwards.
No.
So, you want to just give like a quick summary, or do you remember it?
Yeah, I mean, I remember trying to figure. Words are sometimes hard for me to.
I just don't ever want to talk too much on the podcast.
Okay.
I feel like I might. I feel like the customers, well, not the customers, our listeners want to hear your voice. They just want to hear me spouting my man opinions all the time.
So basically, briefly, American Bitch was kind of like a standalone episode of Girls, I would say. Where, usually you're following a story, like every episode follows the one before it.
Right.
And this episode actually was just between Hannah and this writer, and they were the only two, basically most of the episode, it was them in this writer's apartment.
Correct, yes.
And it was just a very, this episode could have existed on its own. Like, it could have been a short.
Right, yeah.
And it's basically about how Hannah wrote this article about this it's actually one of her favorite writers. She was really upset when she found out he had multiple sexual assault victims come up and report him.
Right.
to the media.
I want to say like 4.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he was very upset and hurt by it, so he invited her to his apartment to talk about it. And it's basically it's about him explaining his side of the story and her explaining her side and why she wrote this piece.
Right. And then if you dive deeper into it, a lot of articles I've read, they dissect the language on how he approached the situation and how he framed himself as a man in position of power, but also as vulnerable and damaged. And in a weird way, he finessed his way into a strange encounter with her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Basically, she goes there to confront him on why she wrote the article, and he basically he plays the victim.
Mm-hmm.
But then he also says, like, I am, like, all I did was just be a guy who was there,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of wanted this. And then things get weird. He gave her a gift.
He did.
Like a signed edition book.
He complimented her a whole lot.
Right. And they like drink juice in his kitchen, and in the middle of having this intense conversation, he takes a phone call, which I hear is like a thing that happens a lot. I don't know if I would be super offended by it. Like, I don't know. Like, I've read people have had that happen to them and they've been like super upset. But I think if I was in the middle of having a discussion with someone on some like or dislike, and they had like a family phone call, like I wouldn't.
Yeah, if it was your kid calling.
Yeah, because he like it wasn't like if he would have answered the phone and been like, yeah, I'll be there at 7. No, I'll grab the nachos, you grab the pretzels. I'd have been like, yo, fuck this. But he was arguing. It seemed pretty intense. Mm-hmm. He was arguing with his ex-wife about their daughter coming over. So he the whole episode, like, they're going back and forth. It's very dialogue, character driven, and he kind of paints himself as someone who wasn't getting booty before fame, but now that he has fame and he has access to these women use him as much as he uses them.
Mm-hmm.
And then the weird shit happens in the bedroom.
Yep.
So he invites her into the bedroom, and at this point we both said,
this is not going in a good direction. Like, we both were like, oh no. But you could see, like, the crazy part about this episode was that it was very, to me, not like, I don't want to say realistic, but you can see
how that could happen.
Yeah, I guess it is realistic, and you can see how he actually was a predator. In
a way, he was. He was a predator, just like he described himself as being a predator. I want to say he is, and to use a term that is usually used toward race relations, he was a soft shoe predator, where he would prey on women. He kind of like would walk them into their own trap. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think it would work for every woman. Mm-mm. It wasn't like an overpowering predator, or it wasn't like an intimidating predator. It was in a way. It was very, like, his prey was a very certain, it was like a very specific person. Like, he preyed on young, impressionistic writers who were females. Mm-hmm. Like, that shit wouldn't work with, like, a PPA driver or some shit. You know what I mean? Or, like, a SEPTA, like, employee. Like, it just wouldn't work. Like, they wouldn't, like, tolerate his bullshit. So, in the bedroom, he gives her a signed copy of this particular author that she is fond of. And, he lays in bed and he asks her to lay in bed with him. And he says, you can keep your clothes on. This is not to be weird, but, you know, just lay in bed with me. I just need a little bit of intimacy. I just don't have it very often. And she like awkwardly walks over and she like lays in bed next to him. So he's kind of in the fetal position with his like face toward the door. And she lays on her back, kind of behind him, you know? Mm-hmm. And then when he turned around and he was facing her, I was like, oh, fuck, he's about to do some creep shit. Because it was already on the creep shit. And I think everyone, because the way he paints himself throughout the whole entire episode, you kind of hope he's not a creep. You kind of hope that he was this person who said, like, he was, you know, not a creep. Like, I really hope that he wasn't a creep. I just hope that he was misunderstood, you know, 4 times in a row, which sounds absurd to say it out loud. And then he pulls out his dick.
Yep.
And he just kind of had it laying on her thigh. And then she grabbed his dick. But not in like
a sexual way. It was like in a
it wasn't not sexual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't malicious. You know what I mean? It wasn't like she grabbed his dick and squeezed. It wasn't like she grabbed his dick and was like, who the fuck do you think you're messing with? She like grabbed his dick to be like, is that a dick?
Mm-hmm.
And then she like jumped up and they had a conversation about why his dick was out. And he just kind of like,
he looked crazy.
He looked so fucking creepy. He just like laid in bed smiling at her through his beard. And then with such perfect timing, his daughter arrives.
Mm-hmm.
And after his daughter arrives, Hannah is like, yo, this shit is fucked up and crazy. I'm leaving. And as she's leaving, his daughter asks Hannah to stay and listen to her play this particular piece that she was really proud of on the violin, because apparently she got picked up to do something. Also, his daughter was half black.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely, if she wasn't half black, she was a very dark Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had caramel skin and the curly hair that's consistent with mixed girls that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
And then him and Hannah sit in their living room while his daughter plays the violin. And he is looking like such a proud father, just admiring his little girl playing his violin. And Hannah is staring at him, and all of the anger in her face kind of disappears a little bit. And she kind of just...
I think she realizes what had happened.
Yeah.
And that there's, at that point, she can't do anything. Because if she told her story of what happened, it would look like she asked for it.
Yeah.
Or she walked into it, you know?
She did walk into it.
Because she went there to prove a point, and he
No. She definitely went there to prove a point, but I mean,
her point was proven, but...
It was, but I think there's certain levels to it. Like, I think because we watched the show and we know Hannah to be kind of just like sexually messy.
Yeah.
I thought she was going to bone the dude. I was actually impressed that she had such restraint not to.
Well, that's why I feel like this was a standalone episode, because that wasn't very...
It seemed more Lena Dunham than Hannah.
Yes.
And also, why would you lay in bed with him though?
Yeah, no fucking way. Absolutely not.
That's such a strange thing when you come to confront a person who has been put up on many sexual allegations. That's like that's like if I was interviewing like a guy who just got arrested for like smuggling guns and drugs in his car, and then he says, let's go take a drive. I would be like, no, I'm good. Or we can drive in my car. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't just hop in homeboy's car and drive away. And so the episode ends with Hannah leaving the hotel, and then a row of women walking in, which kind of signifies that she's just one of many. You know? And it's a pretty deep episode.
And also, they chose to air this episode the same night as the Oscars. And there's some speculation, I don't know how true it is, that
it's for Casey
Affleck. Yep. So I mean, I don't know how much you read up in that.
I know that he is accused of sexual is it assault?
It's and
or
it's
it
actually
rape at this point?
I haven't seen the one girl I read about that worked with him. It wasn't rape, but
it was like sexual misconduct.
But like
a lot of
kind of like it seemed very parallel.
Like just pulling his dick out.
Yeah, and a lot of inappropriate comments and like trying to trick her into sharing a hotel room.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely. I feel like it was a really good episode, and I really can't stand Lena Dunham. So
I feel like I can't stand her either. And the last 2 episodes of her show have been pretty damn good.
Yeah,
actually.
Yeah,
because even this current one, as just from like a writer's point, and being someone in their 30s who is facing like, I don't want to say the fork in the road, but you definitely when you get in your 30s, not to be morbid, but death seems closer. Not to be like when you're in your 20s, you're just young and reckless and everything just seems like a good time. But when you're in your 30s, you're just calculating time. Like, okay, if I have a kid now, that's 18 years and such. You know, I want to have this career. I still have these projects I want to do. And time starts becoming, it's like halftime. You know, it's like, to me, being in your 30s is like being in the Super Bowl. It's halftime and the game is tied. And you're like, all right, well, we only have so many more minutes left in this game.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying?
It's heavy.
Well, there's overtime, you know. But yeah, so like seeing the character in today's episode, last night's episode, where the character was definitely like realizing that he doesn't complete anything. Like, I can definitely relate to that. So I don't support Lena Dunham usually, but I mean, I'll support some good television writing. So yeah, moving on from American Bitch. And do you recommend people to watch this episode?
Yeah, I think especially, I mean, I feel like even just with us, it spurred good conversation, even just from the male and female point of view, because there were things that you saw a certain way that I was like, no.
Like what?
Like when Lena was talking about the teacher that was giving back rubs.
Right. Yeah.
And you didn't realize
that was creepy.
And then I said, you know, like, imagine as an adult.
Yeah.
Or if that was your kid came home.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think that was creepy. And then the more I thought about it, the more I can see how that was definitely creepy, especially if he was only giving back rubs to her. But if he was running around back rubbing everyone, I don't know if it would be that creepy. I mean, I guess it still would be a little creepy.
I just think about it as an adult, like, your boss can't come up to you and give you a back rub. Can you imagine if I came home and was like, my man boss?
Yeah, true.
Was trying to give me a back rub, so I stapled his face.
Yeah. There's no way around it. I didn't read too like deeply into that. But then it was like she like saw a friend, and then she called the ex teacher a pedophile.
And the friend was very offended by that.
I mean, that is a serious accusation. So it is kind of one of those weird gray areas, I guess, where, you know, because I think a lot of people when they deal with people who do sexual assault and things like that, like, they deal with them on a rich level, and they feel like a lot of people skirt away. But there is a large portion of the community that do not skirt away, and they get caught in the systems for things that they may, if they did do it, then they deserve it. But the ones who didn't do it is really unfortunate.
Yeah. So
it's definitely one of those things where, you know, oh man, it's like, what are you going to do? Like, you have to, it's such a gray area, such a fine line. And it definitely, I feel like, involves a lot of communication to really figure it out. So sliding in from American Bitch, what do you want to talk about next? You want to get into this environmental issue, this relationship, or you want to talk about some more of these movies?
I mean, how much were we going to talk about? I thought we were
all movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So earlier this week, we had a screener down at the Ritz East, and we saw Table 19. Table 19 is a romantic comedy starring, what is that poor girl's name? I see her face in my mind.
Anna Kendrick.
Yes. There it is.
So it's about ex maid of honor Eloise, whom is Anna Kendrick. She was supposed to be the maid of honor for her now ex-boyfriend's sister wedding, but she backed out for obvious reasons. But she's still invited to the wedding, and it's her oldest friend, so she decides to go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, she gets stuck at table 19, which is labeled the random table.
Right.
And they're all a bunch of interesting characters.
Yes, this movie was written and directed by Jeffrey Blitz. It had a budget of $5 million. To date, it did $1.6 million, so it didn't really crush it.
No, I mean, I feel bad. The Rotten Tomatoes is only 20%.
Really?
Yeah, people ain't shit.
Huh. I wonder why. I would love to read some of the. I should try to check out some of the reviews for it later. But we actually enjoyed the film quite a bit. We thought it was entertaining.
It was neat. I know we needed. I remember needing a light movie that day, being like, I need to laugh.
Right.
But yeah, it was like one of those movies I went in with no expectations. Like I thought it was gonna fucking suck.
Yep.
And
I saw the trailer, and I thought the trailer was actually pretty funny.
I didn't even really see the trailer.
Mm-hmm. I think it probably didn't. I think Anna Kendrick probably hurt the film. I don't like her face.
I mean,
I feel like she's always. I feel like she's about to tell me a lie. I feel like she's about to tell me a lie, or she's about to tell me how to season my collard greens. You know what I mean? Like she has that type of face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, or she's gonna tell me why something's very important.
Yeah, I just picture her from Twilight. I guess I remember her.
Oh yeah, I forgot she was in Twilight.
Mm-hmm.
No, that worked out well for her.
Yeah,
good for her. So it also has Craig Robbins in it, and Phoebe. What is Phoebe's name?
Lisa Kudrow.
Lisa Kudrow. They have a very, very tough relationship dynamic. It also has the one kid from Dope. Not the black kid, but I don't want to say he's Indian. I don't know exactly what he is actually.
Yo, and it has Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn's son, which I didn't.
Yeah. What is his name?
Wyatt Russell.
That is an all-American name.
Mm-hmm.
Wyatt Russell.
Yeah.
Sounds like he should be like riding horses.
He looks like their kid. I remember when I realized that was his parents. I was like, "Whoa."
Well, when I was staring at him, he looked familiar, and that was because I was staring at a young Kurt Russell, like a young bearded Kurt Russell, like a very young Kurt Russell. But overall, the film I thought was very cute. They had a lot of diversity in the main cast. There was black people, white people, there was old people. They dealt with a lot of subjects. They did not deal with race, but they dealt with because I feel like Craig Robinson's character wasn't written as a black guy. I think he was just a guy. And Craig Robinson just read for that part and he got it. But they dealt they dealt with age and being forgotten. They dealt with being an outsider and like dealing with that. I mean, I feel like that's a very common theme to be dealt with. They also dealt with miscommunication, which I feel like I feel like every romantic comedy deals with miscommunication, but it's always in like a trivial way. Where this film dealt with miscommunication, I felt like in a more impactful and kind of like realistic way.
Yeah.
You know how they broke up via text and they were never in the same room to really like talk it out, you know? And I feel like that's definitely why some conversation should be had in person.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, because I feel like, not to spoil anything, because you learn this pretty early in the movie, but she is pregnant by her ex-boyfriend. And when she told him via text, he broke up via text.
Yep.
But he technically didn't really break up with her. He just kind of got scared and didn't know what to do.
Yeah, didn't.
And he thought that she was like fucking with him.
I say took her text the wrong way.
Yeah, and he basically just misread her text, which I feel like is a very easy thing to do.
Oh yeah.
When it's like paper on screen. I mean, words on screens. So the moral of the story, for me, was always tell people you're pregnant in person, unless you can't just get them in person, or at the very least call them.
Okay, I won't tell you through text.
I mean, you can tell me via text. I ain't going nowhere.
Just an emoji, little pregnant emoji.
I would be mad as fuck.
You'd be like, "Are you pregnant with food?"
I was like, "You have to go poop."
You got a food baby?
You got a little poop baby? About to have a little George? For all those listening, I call all of my shits George. Every time I push out a rough one, there goes George. Yeah. I should start calling them Donalds.
I was thinking that.
Yeah. Yeah. Pushing little Donalds out of my body and down the drain. So, if you're ever in the market for a very cute and lighthearted, and you know what, the ending probably fucked up a lot of people because it did end super, super cheesily. Not with the baby, but when they were in the when they went to the reception and the mom was passed out. And Craig Robinson, they should have got divorced.
Yeah, she's trying to creep. But
she didn't even try to hide it. She's like, I'm out here trying to get this dick. And the crazy thing was that she was still checking for fairies way after the fact that shit was going south.
You know, but they worked it out. They were sitting at the same table at the end.
It's because he plays the draws. Yeah. I wonder what happened. I kind of wonder if he was thinner when they first met. Because as someone who's like gained weight, and I that does fuck with you mentally in the bedroom. And you kind of feel like certain positions ain't for you no more because you got like the extra roundage on the belly. And I wonder if he was like really slim when they first met. Because you met me, I was already pretty husky, so it doesn't fuck with me too much. But I could just imagine being like, if you gained an abundant, like a bunch of weight, and that could fuck with you mentally. So maybe that's why they haven't spanged out in like 3 years, because he's feeling inadequate on some level. You know, and then maybe he tried to go for it, and she was just like, maybe he had bad timing a bunch of times in a row.
I think it was because it looked like they were focused on their business a whole lot.
And like he was focused on the business a whole lot. She seemed like she was just kind of coasting a little bit.
That's true. Because that's where his mind went immediately. He didn't think she was trying to creep. He was like, "You out here trying to sell the business?" Yeah. She was like, "No, what the fuck?"
She's like, "I'm trying to get that. I'm trying to get that P now."
He was like, "What?"
He was in disbelief. It's a very we just kind of gave out a spoiler, but it's still I think it's definitely something worth watching. And if you get a chance, if you got the hookup, if you can get yourself the Fire Stick screener, then by all means, get that shit on and popping and check it out. It's pretty interesting film. We saw another movie. We saw Logan this past weekend.
Yes, which I feel like you probably have a whole podcast.
The next two movies I feel like will be covered on various podcasts throughout the SXS network, because I feel like they're larger than movie. Well, Logan's just a movie, but it's a comic book movie, so we have to cover it. Yeah, well, yeah. But Get Out, I feel like, was a socially powerful movie that, we just got to do it for the culture. So dealing with Logan, what'd you think? So
it's funny because everyone that's asked me about the movie so far, right, I always say I really liked it. Yes. I found it very sad, and when I say that, everyone that doesn't really know anything is like, "Really? Yeah, it's an X-Men movie." I'm like, "Nah, sad as shit." Yeah,
no one clapped at the end,
and it was out of sadness.
When it ended, everyone was just like,
you were like
you heard that around the room. Everyone was just like
it faded to black, and I'm like, please be like a 1 year late. Give me something. And it was like, nah, bro.
Mm-mm.
But what I told everyone was that that's what I felt, and then I was like, and my husband seemed to be pretty upset that it didn't fit in with DC Universe.
Oh, Marvel, baby.
Marvel?
Yeah, it's Marvel.
Why? I always think it's DC.
Mm-mm.
Marvel. You know why? Because it's Fox.
Yeah.
That fucks with me.
Only people who have DC is Warner Brothers.
I always think Fox is X-Men.
No.
Because I associate shittier movies with Fox.
They do have some pretty shitty movies. But Deadpool is Fox.
That was the one good thing they did.
And Logan. Logan, I think Logan is a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a horrible X-Men movie.
Mm.
But it's a good movie. The acting in it is superb. Like, excuse me. If you didn't think Hugh Jackman could act, I should probably sanitize this mic too. I'm like, this shit's probably, or like put like some tape on it. Like, this is. I mean, no one should be. Derek touch this mic tomorrow.
We'll just tell him not to put his lips on it. Like, Derek.
But even if I'm talking and I cough and it's on the mic, like if he touches it, like.
I'm gonna pick up some hand sanitizer stuff or that little wipes tomorrow.
I need some fucking tape for this mic so I can label it. I'll do it after the show. Put a sticker on it or something. What was I saying? Yeah. So I think Logan is, as a movie, like as a film, as a piece of cinema. You know what I would compare it to? No Country for Old Men. Remember that movie, No Country for Old Men? It had
That was a one and done for me.
Well, it was pretty bad. Like he just killed that lady in the end, or it's implied that he killed her. But it was definitely like a modern day. It kind of had a Western feel to it. Like they were in like New Mexico City. It had the father-daughter dynamic. The daughter spoke very little English.
Yeah.
You know, she spent most of the movie mute. And honestly, for a large chunk of the movie, she was literally the best part of it.
She was phenomenal. Like the fact that I feel like because she wasn't speaking so much,
right,
but still was like able to convey, you know, her feeling. Like you could tell what she was going through.
Yeah,
you know,
and she was badass.
Oh yeah, she was a fucking beast.
She was very aggressive. She was very violent. This film was a very violent film.
I did. That's funny because I did point that out when I was talking to someone today. I was like, I said it was like very drama based, but people were getting murdered, like slaughtered.
Very violent. Very violent. I don't want to say it was racist, but it definitely didn't treat its three black characters very well.
Yeah.
I want to. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's racist.
I was mad.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's because when I saw them, I saw those three black characters, I leaned over to you and I said, "I know what's going to happen to them," and I was 100% accurate. I liked it a lot. I thought it was good. I just, as an X-Men film, it is the worst. At first, I loved it. I loved it up and down, and then I did what I always do and I shouldn't do. I started Googling. And you know, if you love some shit, you should just let it cook.
If
like
you love something, don't Google it.
Don't Google it, because from my experience, Googling never makes me love anything more. I usually end up loving it a little bit less.
That's true.
And when they started getting into the different timelines, and this movie takes place in the same universe as all the other X-Men movies, I lost my shit. But for the most part, it was a good film. It was a little slower than I think most people wanted. It wasn't very actiony. It wasn't very explosive. There wasn't a lot. I don't know. I think it's definitely one of those films not everyone's going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
And I think people will think it's a good movie, but they won't think it's a good superhero movie.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Make you some tea.
You know I hate tea.
I know you hate tea. You know, it's good for you, though.
I know. I think it is in my stomach because I don't feel great. I feel like we should hurry up through this.
Oh, okay.
I hate being sick because it makes me into like I feel so
I know.
pathetic. I can't even imagine being sick in like the days when medicine didn't exist.
Just imagine being a female and being sick every month. Not to be dramatic. That shit sucks.
Yeah. That's pretty fucked up. What was I was reading something and it was like, yo, like why don't they like why hasn't the menstrual cycle been taken care of by nature? Like you would think nature would just be like, let's balance this shit out.
Let's have your hormones not be all over the place. Like,
let's just make this a little bit more convenient for everyone.
why does every month I have to be like curled in a little ball and like just go to work on the verge of tears? Like,
I will never know what it's like, and honestly, I don't want to.
yeah.
What really sucks though is that like I don't know, it just seems like an inefficient way for your body to handle reproduction.
Yeah.
Not to be weird, but I feel like if it worked in seasons, it would be so much better. You know, like if it was just like a season. You know, like oh, it's my season.
Sorry. It's just, fucking spring, yo.
Yeah, and then you know what I mean, but they were all different, and then you were just like, it's my season, so. But you know, I just gotta deal with it for like 3 months. Then the rest of the 9 months out of the year, I'm good money.
Time. 3 months though, that's like.
Would you trade 3 periods for 9 non-periods?
I don't know.
Like but if like you only menstruated and ovulated for 3 months, and then the rest of the 9 months, just like your eggs were like dormant, like they were just chilling.
Oh God, I don't know, because that's like 3 months.
You do it every month.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying 3 months straight. No, I'm not saying that.
Like once a month.
Yeah, you get your regular period for 3 months.
Yeah, that's cool. I thought you meant 3 months straight. That's why I was like, no.
No. Because then the rest of the 9 months out of the year, you know, like you could mess around if you wanted, but there's going to be no pregnancy happening. You know what I mean? Like that's the way I would think nature would be take care of you. Also, I feel like nature don't be looking out for women because postpartum is some bullshit. And it doesn't make sense to me. Like I don't understand why that works. I don't understand how it works. And I think it's really, really, really fucked up that these women, that women carry these babies to term. They push them out of their bodies with pain and love. And then they go through like a weird period where their bodies are all emotional. And then they may or may not love this baby. And it's not their fault. It's just like their body trips out. I kind of always feel like nature should put you in a state of euphoria. Like you should be like mad gleeful for like a month or two.
Yeah.
Instead of like suicidal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I just be feeling like nature don't be looking out for women like they should. That's just me. Well, what do I know?
You know lots.
God bless the vagina. It's amazing. Shit is popping. Speaking of God bless the vagina, on an off note, I read to you that article the other day that that women in heterosexual relationships have less orgasms.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. On the list, I want to say gay men were number 1. I want to say it was straight and bi men were number 2. Only think gay men were number 1 because it's double the man. So like they're both jizzing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Number 3, lesbians.
Number 4?
Lesbians had a strong number 3 too. I want to say lesbians was number 4 would be women in heterosexual relationships. But yeah, like lesbians had a pretty strong showing. It wasn't as strong as the gay men. I also think gay men. Who do you think does it more, gay men or gay women?
Probably men, because men are generally more horny.
See, I would naturally think men, but I've always been told never sleep on a woman's sex drive. So I never really know. But from the gay homeboys that I do know, It seems like when it is popping, it's popping on a very aggressive level. Like it's on and popping. So yeah, so what do you think of that statistic? Do you feel like, I think that it was 68% for women in heterosexual relationships. 68% of them actually get to completion, where it was 98% for gay men. Yeah.
Whew.
I wonder who's that 2%. Like what is happening with them? I want to say straight and bi men was like 90%. Women was in the 80s%, and then it was 68 for straight women in relationships with straight men, heterosexuals, cisgendered couples. Is that the proper terminology? Cisgender?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
If I fucked it up,
Straight.
forgive me. You know, I'm working on it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's kind of crazy.
I think it sounds right.
68%.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking like overall, not just like, you know.
I think they were talking about in like encounters.
Yeah.
I don't think they were talking even masturbation, because that level's probably crazy high.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. No. I think they were talking like overall. And one of the things that they were that they cited as the problem was straight women do not communicate what pleases them sexually to straight men.
Yeah, I mean,
for fear of like whatever.
And I feel like included in that is like, because all of that statistics is like one night stands and stuff like that. Where like you're.
See, I always thought in a one night stand is your chance to be demanding as fuck. Because I know this is probably fucked up because I'm a guy, but I always assumed in a one night stand, it's like, yo, you don't know this person. The chances of you getting with this person again are pretty slim. You should probably try to get what it's worth.
I just think, I mean, like, I guess that's coming from a man's point of view, because like, I mean, from a woman's point of view, I mean, I can't speak for all women, but I feel like women are more, especially like around someone you don't really know,
right,
more self-conscious.
And that's what they were saying. They were saying that they felt like they would be feared to express themselves on what they wanted, and I would just be like, to me, it's so silly. Like, if it's a one night stand, you're not gonna see this person again. Be like, yo, eat the booty like groceries, or it's not happening. Joe, I swear to God, if he was like, eat the booty like groceries, or it's not going to happen, and dude was like, well, fine, it's not happening, I'm pretty sure you can put your pants back on, get back out there, and find someone to eat the booty like groceries, because it's going to happen. Like, I would put that on. I would put that on almost everything.
I mean, I that's true, I'm sure.
Yeah, but
still, it's.
I feel like if you was like to eat the booty like groceries with some girl that you liked or something, I think that's kind of the scary thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like someone that you like dig and you're thinking this person might be the one for you. Then I can kind of understand you being like a little gun shy, you know? But if it's like bartender Jeff, be like, dude, fucking go down there and don't come up for air till I'm done.
Yeah. It's a comfort thing too. Like it's hard to be relaxed around someone you don't know. It's hard.
Interesting. So what would be the point of a one night stand at that point? It doesn't sound like it's going to be any fun.
I mean, this is just like
I know. I'm just saying from that logic. Like, if you're super self conscious,
you're drunk.
I guess, but wouldn't you want?
And sometimes, I don't know how many, but girls probably don't think it's a one night stand.
See, I was thinking that could be the other thing too. If they thought it might be a more meaningful relationship, but I think you can kind of know when a one night stand happens. I know from experience, one night stands. There's a certain degree of one night stand. If your social interaction has been less than 2 hours and you find yourselves with people and they're taking their clothes off, you're probably not going to be heavily involved with that person.
At that moment, though, you might not, like, especially if you're drinking.
I feel like if you're trying to get off, you're trying to get off.
Yeah, there's that too. There's all different reasons, but
Yeah.
I'm just
So it's very interesting that like the reason that you were citing is the reason that they cited for. I wasn't thinking one night stands. I was thinking about relationships, but that does make a lot of sense. Like in a one night stand, if the girl was mad self conscious, she would just get plow drived, and then dude would roll over after 30 seconds of like him just going fucking porn star crazy, and then she's just slightly unsatisfied. But I would be like, yo, eat the box like groceries, dog, or it's not happening. Like I don't know what you thought you was coming here for. You know, I would be like, yo, that's just me though. So yeah. So getting back on subject, Logan, go see it. It's a good film.
Oh yeah, it's sad though.
It's sad.
Be prepared to be.
It's not a superhero
sad.
film. Be prepared to see. It felt. If you was to take the superheroes out of it, it felt like an Oscar-worthy drama. It felt like No Country for Old Men. It felt like, what was that Western movie with Jeff Bridges and the dude from Star Trek? Not Pain and Gain. Damn it! It just was nominated for a bunch of Oscars. It didn't win any, but everyone was talking about it. We watched it. It was about the Southern Brother bank robbers.
Oh yeah, I wasn't really.
Hell or High Water. It felt like a Hell or High Water. It felt like a No Country for Old Men. If you were to take out the X-Men connections, it just felt like that society with like a special guy or a special couple people. Like it felt very much like those type of films. So yeah, I would check it out if you're into it. I was into it. It's not a good X-Men film, but whatever. Getting into the last subject of the day, we have Get Out. You wanna dive into it?
Yeah, right.
I'm just trying to breathe. I can't breathe out of my nose.
I know.
Yo, fucking Kevin Sorbo. All right, I'm sorry. That's out of nowhere. Go ahead, continue. Sorry.
You can start.
Why I gotta start? All right. So I want to go into a preface. We actually recorded a show last week, and we were going to review Get Out last week on the show, and then I didn't do a good job of communicating things. And halfway through the show, when we got to the actual Get Out review, I think beforehand I just kind of got slightly nervous because I feel like this film is greater than the film. I feel like it's a political movement. I would put it on par with I can't think of the last film that I've seen that had such current social and racial ties.
I mean, I don't know. This isn't like that, but I feel like when I saw American History X, that movie was one of those movies. I mean, that was one of those movies that after I saw it, I was like, I was young too.
I want to say maybe Malcolm X. But it definitely felt like it was just more than a film. And us being an interracial couple and this being a podcast where things that we say can be heard on the internet, they never go away, and people make assumptions and judgments. I was actually kind of nervous to actually review Get Out in depth with you because I felt like there was a lot of conversations that should be had. About the racial undertones of it, some of the things that were being said, a lot of dog whistle terminology, a lot of dog whistle symbolism, and I just didn't see it as just a film. And you know what's kind of funny is like Get Out was one of the first films that me and my dad both agreed were like good films.
Oh, your dad saw it?
Yeah, he actually saw it.
Wow.
And then
yeah, that is rare.
Yeah. He actually told me to call him. I was in the middle of work, and he's like, "Yo, call me."
Wow.
And I called him, and he was like, "I just saw Get Out," and I was like, "Well, what'd you think?" He's like, "Man, I'm so scared." He's like, "Man, you better be careful when you go to the Poconos."
I was like, don't say.
And I was like, all right, it'll be good. It'll be fine. It's straight. I mean, hopefully it's straight. I don't really know if it's straight or not. Hopefully it's good. It should be good. We should be fine.
We're fine.
Yeah, it's good. So yeah, Get Out. I'm just I overthink things.
You overthink.
I overthink things, which it's not bad, but you know, I overthink and then I underthink, which can be, now that's bad. But if you overthink and you overanalyze, and at the end of the day, I just didn't want. I feel like it's a very easy film, especially for white people, to come off and sound wrong.
Well, yeah, and that's why I feel like conversations should be had.
Right.
You know, like
Yeah.
I feel like not talking about it or is not going to get anyone anywhere.
Right. Yeah, and I was just, I was just like, I wanted to protect you. I wanted to keep you safe.
I mean, I'm not gonna say nothing ignorant.
See, that's the beauty of ignorance, is that most ignorant things people don't know are ignorant.
Yeah, but
and I just know, as someone who says things without necessarily thinking, like that's like anyone, as you may know, I constantly ask you if what I did was just weird.
Mm-hmm.
All the time, we'll have interactions with people, and then when they leave, I'll be like, "Did I just do something weird? Like, did I just do something strange?" And every once in a while, he was like, "Yeah, that was fucking weird," and I was like, "Really? Really? That was strange?" He was like, "Yeah, that was fucking weird. Like, don't do that again." And I'd be like, "Fuck," because in my mind, everything seems like a really good. Everything I do, very rarely do I do something and feel like it's a horrible idea. Like earlier today, something happened at work, and I was like, that was probably a little strange. Like, I definitely did some strange shit, and I was just like, I was having a conversation with my boss. He came over to my desk and he sat down and he was talking to me. And then in the midst of him talking to me, I just stopped talking and I went in my drawer and grabbed some eye drops and put them on my desk. Because at the time, my eyes were bothering me, but I didn't want to drop my eye drops in front of him. But I wanted to have my eye drops ready for when he was done, because I didn't know how long he was going to be there. And then thinking back on it, I was like, that was strange. I could have just waited the 5 minutes for this dude to leave. But I think once I put the eye drops down, he kind of was like, all right, talk to you later. I don't know what you're about to do, but it shouldn't involve me. So, yeah. So, Get Out. Good film.
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Written by Jordan Peele, directed by Jordan Peele, for a budget of $4.5 million. I think to date, it's at $72 million worldwide.
I feel like everyone I know has seen it. Like, the ratio of people that I know that have seen it
is high.
It's very high.
Yeah. I feel like the people that I've known who've seen it and who like it is also high.
Yeah.
I haven't met anyone who didn't like it. However, I did read some think pieces of people who felt otherwise and felt attacked. One of the things that made me super nervous about this film is that there is literally no good white people in this film. However, I did hear an interesting theory. And for those of you that don't know or who haven't seen Get Out yet, if we're gonna spoil some things. We're going to talk about some scenes in the film. So if you don't want to hear that, I think this is a good point for you to dip out.
And go see the fucking movie.
Go see the movie. We appreciate you for listening. Come back next week and we're talking about some more things. But yeah, if you're in it for the ride, then you're in it for the ride. So Get Out, the main star, I think his name is Chris. He is an African-American photographer he's an orphan. Both parents died, right? I think dad wasn't around. And
yeah, my mom died in the hit and run.
Yeah, mom died early. He is dating a white girl from Girls, and he's going home to meet her parents for the first time. She lives in like upstate New York. And while there, he meets the family. There's also a surprise party that he didn't know about, and at the end of the day, everything is not what it seems. Literally everything is not what it seems. So when I was saying that there's no good white people in this film, one theory is while driving up to the upstate to meet the parents, the black dude Chris is driving, he hits a deer. And he kills the deer. The cops come, and the cops, well, actually the black dude wasn't driving, the girl was driving, and the cop asked to see the black guy's driver's license.
Oh shit.
Right. And the girl argues with the cop on why she needs to see the driver's license because he wasn't the one driving. And the cop was just, he didn't really give a real good reason. Well, one theory floating on the internet is the cop has known that there's been a string of black men missing from that area, and he was just checking out the guy's driver's license to kind of like know who he is. So it could be seen as a cop actually not being racist and just doing some cop like shit, you know, like his fucking job. Or it could be seen as a racist cop and
just stereotype.
Right.
Yeah.
Because when we see it, and that's one of the things that I definitely thought about, everything that they show you in the film leading up to the film's climax is all misdirection.
Yep.
Every single thing that you see is look here, but the action's over there. So with her defending it so aggressively, naturally we thought she was defending it because
sticking up for him, and she
Right.
was like, "Fuck you, like you racist cop." Yeah, she fucking fooled everyone.
Yes.
She fooled all of us.
She did. It was very tense. And one of the things that makes the movie extremely difficult, and some people will say it's more horror-esque, is a lot of those interactions are very common within black folks and within like our daily lives. Like there was a particular line where at this social setting, he meets an older white guy, and the guy's like, "Do you golf?" And he's like, "Well, I don't really golf too much." And he was like, "Oh, golfing's great. I love golfing. I'm a real big fan of Tiger Woods." You know what I mean? And I find that happens to me more often than not.
They try to relate to you with the first.
And I'll call people out on it. I'll be like, well, you know, there's other people who golf that aren't black.
And like how they used that, they all kept saying, my dad would have voted for Obama
for a third term.
Yeah. They all said that.
Yeah. And it's just like, this movie definitely attacked liberals, and again, it doubles back to that soft racism where they weren't trying to string him up and kill him, but he wasn't seen as a human. He was seen as a vehicle, like a commodity. You know, he was very much seen as property in a way, something that could be auctioned off, something that could be forgotten, and something that could be used. So, yeah, it was a really, really good film. A lot of low key subtlety stuff.
Like yeah. Where like some of it I didn't pick up on till afterward, till either you pointed it out or like on the internet. There was that one article we shared on the Lulu and Pop. I think you shared it on your Facebook too.
Are you talking about the Lulu and Pop Facebook page? If you go to facebook.com/Lulu and Pop.
Yes.
Oh wow.
It's a great page. Everyone should like it. But there's actually a really interesting article with all the different little what's the word? Subtleties? Did you just use that word? Is that why that word's in my head?
Yeah, I think subtleties is more like sprinkling some salt on the dish. This is more like symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of things in that article that I was like, oh shit.
Yeah. Are you bringing up the article now?
Yeah, I want to bring it up.
While you bring it up, I'll filibust. So, one of the things that really changed my perspective on the film was a slight appreciation for the TSA. One of Chris's homeboys actually worked for the TSA, and he was the only homeboy who really held him down throughout all of this. He was the audience for all intended purposes in the film. he was the one that was saying, "Don't go in there." Oh no, you're about to die. Like, this shit is crazy. You need to get up out of there. And when no one else was believing that his homeboy was missing, um, you know, he was the one to like put plans in action to figure out where his homeboy was at. And then when everything comes to light, dude's like, "Yo, how'd you find me?" And dude said, "I'm the motherfucking TSA."
Yeah, it was phenomenal.
Yeah. The fact that this movie ends on a punchline is very Key and Peele.
Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like one very well done skit. It felt like a long episode of Black Mirror.
Did it very much? That's yeah.
Yeah. Did you find the article?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. So in this article, what is it called?
The name of the article?
Yeah.
It's just 15 hidden messages in Get Out. It's much deeper than you thought.
And what website is that?
It was actually, let me see. It was shared from someone else's page. Our internet is not. It was just Marius Groover.
No. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, there it is. From the Not Carrie Bradshaw website, click that link right there.
Okay, so 15 things you may have missed and Get Out.
Yep. So we will have a link for you guys in the show notes so you can compare notes with us. And so have you read through all 15 of them?
Yes.
Which was the one that struck you the most as like, what? That's crazy.
There's so many.
Well, talk on the ones that stick out to you.
So the one where everything comes together when Chris discovers the photos of Rose with all the other black men she had dated, and all the black men chosen were dark skinned.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when she was going through that box, like I was talking actually with my coworker at work, we still were like, "Oh, she must get hypnotized. She must be really into black dudes, and she must just keep getting hypnotized every time she brings one home." Like, even at that point.
At that point, I still believed, and I think part of that is because I'm married to you.
Yeah.
I do believe it, and part of that is because I was just holding out a little benefit of the doubt that like not everyone in this film is completely horrible, but that was not the case.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it was very much like when it happened, I was just like, "Fuck!" Like I was really hoping I was hoping she was a bad guy, but not a bad guy on her own free will.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because the type of hatred she had was strange. She would get in relationships. She would be like being dicked down.
He was telling me, they were saying, like, he told her he loved her.
Yeah.
That's a con. It's a fucking con.
One of the things that struck me was when after they hit the deer and they went back, and the dad was talking about how much he hates bucks. And buck is a term used to describe well-endowed black slaves that were used to impregnate other female slaves.
Mm-hmm.
And they would get the bucks because they had big penises, and they were large men that they felt like their offspring would be big penis large men.
Mm.
So like he was going on that tirade about how much he hates deers and he hates bucks, and He just wants to eradicate him. It was just very heavy for someone that you just met. Another thing too is a conversation with that I feel like every interracial couple has is, well, obviously they didn't have that conversation, but we got to witness them having it. But it is as a black person when you're coming home with someone who is of the opposite race, like with the parents, you always want to know, do they know?
Yeah.
You know? And she was like, they don't know. I don't think I would have went.
No.
At that very point right there, I would have been like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't think she would have had to, like, oh, like, you have to tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm not just going to show up and they not know. Excuse me. And then think everything is all Gucci afterwards. Like, I would very much need to know that you know, type thing.
Yeah.
And even there was so at one point in the film, the girlfriend, after she thinks Chris is dead for her, she's in her room and she has like all the pictures on the wall. And there's like 15 dudes there that she's done this to. But she was also eating Oreos and milk separately.
Was it Fruit Loops?
Fruit Loops. It was Fruit Loops and milk and drinking out of a black straw.
Mm-hmm.
And well, I think she was drinking out of I think it was a white straw actually. But the crazy thing about that is it just goes to show that they don't mix the colors.
The fact that she was even eating the cereal separate.
Right. Like she does not see them as intertwining at all was just like crazy. And the fact that he used cotton as a means to escape while he was shackled, stuffing the cotton in his ear so he wouldn't hear the teacup. He killed the dad with the antlers of a buck. You know, there's like so many levels to it that are just crazy in there.
Like everything was so well thought out. Like everything he wrote had meaning behind it.
Yeah.
Like everything.
Yeah. I did read an article that originally Chris died in the end. And when the cops showed up at the end, I thought for sure he was going to get shot.
I think everyone in the theater at the same time was like, like everyone, because.
And originally he did. Apparently. I am so sorry. I am dying on this mic right now. We need to wrap this up because I can't breathe. And it's like my shit's all fucked up.
Make you some tea.
Oh, sure. Okay.
I know you hate it. Give you some rice pudding.
All right. Let me just finish up. So apparently, when Jordan Peele was writing this film, he wrote it. I want to say like 4 or 5. He started writing this process like 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh.
So when he first wrote it, the shootings weren't as big as they were now. But now, since there's so much in the media, he kind of felt like it wasn't necessary to put it in the film.
Yeah.
So that didn't happen. But yeah, I feel like it was a really good film. It was I think it's definitely going to be. I think it should definitely be looked at for an Oscar at the very least, just for screenwriting.
Yeah.
But Oscar doesn't fuck with these type of movies.
Nope.
So we'll see how that will work out. And yeah, I feel like it was I feel like it's it's definitely a multi-view film.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like the other films we've seen this week I would not see again. Like I don't have no plans on watching Logan again. Table 19 is a one and done. So yeah, what would you say this film is on a scale of on like a grading scale, A to F?
A, for sure.
A+.
Yeah, there was nothing wrong with it, in my opinion. It made me feel a lot of things. Like, you know, you went through, there were points where you were super scared. There was points where you were tense. There's even parts where you laughed.
Right.
It just, I feel like it really pulled out almost every emotion.
Yeah.
Which is one of the things in a movie that I think makes it a really good movie, and plus the relevance.
I feel bad because those two, the two black people, didn't make it.
I mean, it's not just the two of them.
Oh, yeah, there's a whole bunch.
That's also another thing. But the ending, it was like gratifying and satisfying, but at the same time, he got away.
Right.
But I mean, this movie ends, but there's so many things that you're left to wonder.
Yeah. Another thing too, Jordan Peele is he's half black and half white, and his wife is full on. I want to say she's Jewish. So it's an interesting film to make, especially with that type of background, like that type of like family structure. So good on you. I'm proud of him.
Yeah.
Came from Keanu to that. Like they're doing it. They're making moves.
Keanu's a good movie too, but in a different way.
Yeah.
Keanu was very much a
Key and Peele skit.
Yep.
Yeah. It was like a long one.
They were like, let's pitch this and see if someone will let us make this movie.
Yeah. All right. So that wraps up this episode of Lulu and Pop. I feel like I'm dying inside. I can't breathe.
We're gonna give you some. We only got Dayquil. Did you take Dayquil?
Yeah, I took some earlier.
I'll make you some. Or you drink some whiskey. I guess that works too.
I'm about to sweat it out.
Oh God.
Like a good perm. All right, and until next week.
Yeah, hopefully I'm not the sick one next week.
Oh God, I hope not. I feel like we should probably sleep in separate rooms tonight. I should really just bundle up and sweat it out here.
You do. Mark sweats out sicknesses like no other person I've ever seen.
You know who else sweats out sicknesses? Black people. That is a very black thing to do. It is putting on.
I just remember the first
sweating out the sickness is very, very. I've never known sweating it out and tussing is like two black remedies that I swear to this day, and it works. It works every time. It works every single. I will put on hoodie. I just
remember the time, it was a long time ago, that you were so hot you were hallucinating.
Oh yeah.
You were so bundled up.
Yeah, but you know what? I was fucking good the next day.
That was in our hot apartment too. That apartment that was always 80 degrees.
I was good the next day. Yo, the crazy thing is your body wants to take care of you.
Yeah.
Like your body wants to get rid of shit. And I know there's going to be all these people who be like, yo, sweating out your codes is stupid, this, that, and the third. You know what? Fuck you. It works. And I'm going to keep doing it because it's continued to work. And my forefathers did it. And those motherfuckers lived a long and plentiful life. Well, it wasn't long because they were eating like fat back and shit. Ooh. So, you know, they had to get their diet right. But they wasn't dying from the cold. So, yeah. I fucking rock with it. Okay. All right. And we're out. Lauren, say goodbye.
Are you going to do your thing or no?
I don't feel like it. Just say goodbye.
Goodbye.
All right.